Can you feel the excitement here? We're at the first annual Santa Cruz Industrial Hemp Expo. And what we have here is over 85 vendors representing 6 countries and more than 15 states. We also have a hemp house, a fashion show, and foods of all kinds, as well as over 40 speakers. What we've done is we've brought together the wide array of possibilities of industrial hemp.
Well, I'm really enjoying walking around here and looking at all the wonderful creative products that have been created using hemp. It's just quite astonishing. And it's really encouraging because I see some real alternatives to the way in which we do things now that would be environmentally more sound and might help us move toward that sustainable future.
The reason I'm most fascinated and impressed with hemp is that it's got such environmental importance in terms of reducing water and air pollution, in terms of building soil and preventing erosion, in terms of saving the forests by replacing as an alternative fiber for timber and so forth. And so the fact that all of these things can be benefits to be gained while producing a versatile and highly productive crop means that the people of California can create jobs, business opportunities, and restore industry to the state with a product that has been used for tens of thousands of years, that draws upon our creativity, that solves our environmental problems, and that benefits society. So I'd say hemp is here for good.
And we're here to educate, as always, the great public on the 50,000 consumer items that can come from cannabis sativa, and just about everything in your house except glass and steel, including rubber and plastics. It can be spun with wool, with cotton. It can make all of our carpets. It can make our particle board. Everything is usable in this plant.
And I did an educational display showing the historical credibility of the plant, basically showing stuff like it's the first cultivated fiber crop ever. Our forefathers planted it. Henry Ford built a car out of hemp. Hemp was the premier agricultural crop in the 1800s. Things like that. It's got to be shown that this crop has had historical credibility, and that because of its historical credibility, it will in fact be a widely used future crop because of its strength, because of its qualities. I just think it's an amazing plant. I had a pleasure doing this display. It was probably the best thing I've ever done in my life.
I researched the history of hemp. There's a very vast and detailed history of hemp in the United States, especially in the eastern seaboard, up in the Boston area, where sailing was a very important part of the history. And I'm trying to reincorporate hemp into America's economy. And I do that by using Hemp Magazine as a tool to educate the people and to talk about it and to get people to write articles about hemp and to learn more about it.
And one of the things that I'm holding here in my hand is a very unique piece of hemp shingle roofing. It's kind of like shake shingle. It's about 40% hemp, has polymers in it. Seems very durable. You can see it pliable. It's got a thin edge, thick on the side, roughly about 18 inches to 2 foot long. This roof in here is going to be put on the hemp house in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, at the Indian Reservation. This is kind of like a hempcrete, so to speak. It's got hemp fibers in it. You can see them protruding out the side of the block here. This block is used to build the house at Pine Ridge. It's very heavy, seems very durable. I think one of the most unique things that we have here in the museum is a piece of material here. It's an armrest for Chevrolet Lumina. It's a 30% hemp fiber with a 70% polypropylene. It's melted in and pressed, and it's pressed from a substance of this right here, a little mat. This mat is spread out and it's pressed into it. This product right here is ground up hemp herds, which comes from the center part of the hemp stalk. This flour was used in the late 1930s, to make cellophane plastic, which is some 60 years later, there's some people, it's entrepreneurial, that are making plastics from this product and are very good at it, such as the Frisbee we have here. This Frisbee is about 40% hemp cellulose plastic, other is polymers.
When we started this company, again, we weren't really trying to make a hemp company. We were trying to make an eco company. We wanted to have zero waste. We wanted to be totally accountable for the product from the beginning of each processing of the materials to the end of the product's life. And to do that, we had to make sure that there were not any petrochemicals, no nylons, no nothing in any of the materials. So natural, in fact, that you could actually compost it, that you could just leave it in your garden and eventually the biomass would return to the earth.
We take TerraPax scrap fabric, like this over here, and we recycle it into very high quality paper. Paper has been made from plant fibers like hemp for thousands of years. We've only been using trees for 150 years. And now there are virtually no trees left, so it's time to get back to plant fibers.
150 years ago, when people proposed that it was possible to make paper out of wood chips, everybody laughed and said, well, nonsense. You make paper out of rags, hemp and linen and cotton. You don't make paper out of wood. This is crazy. Wood chips are very low in cellulose. There's only about 30% cellulose in wood chips, which is the basic material of paper. Hemp, on the other hand, is about 70% cellulose. So right away, you can see that quite a bit less toxic processing is going to be required for the hemp as for the wood chips. The hemp is way better suited for paper. It's really astonishing to me as a paper maker to think that the commercial industry makes paper out of wood. It's the last material you want to use. It's almost a joke. The traditional quotation from Bulletin 404 from the USDA in 1916 is that you can get over 4 times as much pulp from an acre of hemp as you can from an acre of trees on a sustained yield basis. When you harvest the trees, you get a lot of pulp, but when you consider that you get the pulp from the hemp year after year after year, when you average it all out, you get at least 4 times as much pulp from the hemp. I'm very much interested in alternative fibers because half of the trees that are cut down are chipped up for pulp for paper. And then half of our landfills are paper products. So what this means is that we're just turning our ancient forest into landfill as fast as we can. This is really foolish because there's a much better alternative.
We know that in this half of the century that paper usage has gone up by a factor of 6, that timber usage has gone up by a factor of 3. We know that there is a fiber shortage in the world now and that it is getting worse. Our need for fiber in the world is not decreasing. The computer revolution has not given us a paperless society. It's too easy to hit the print button. Everyone's using paper and we're using it more and more. So we need more fiber, a fiber source like this particular plant that's so important that can be grown in rotation with corn and soybeans and alfalfa, where we are now paying farmers not to grow anything on fields that they then have to spray with agricultural chemicals. We could be growing industrial hemp. We would reduce the weed pressure on those fields for subsequent crops, and we would be in a much better situation supplying fiber to our fiber needs.